It was the year 1912, a time of great innovation and progress. The world was buzzing with excitement and anticipation for what the future held. Everyone was amazed by a giant ship, the RMS Titanic. It was the talk of the town, a marvel of modern engineering that promised to change the way people traveled across the ocean. This wasn't just any ship. It was the biggest and fanciest ship ever built. The Titanic was a symbol of human ingenuity and ambition, a floating testament to what mankind could achieve. People thought it would change how we traveled across the ocean. It was designed to be the epitome of luxury and comfort, offering an unparalleled experience for its passengers. The Titanic was like a giant floating palace, showing off how clever humans could be. Its interiors were lavishly decorated, with grand staircases, opulent dining rooms, and luxurious cabins. Everything about it, from its shiny decks to its fancy rooms, screamed luxury. The ship was equipped with the latest technology and amenities, making it a true marvel of its time. Building the Titanic was a huge job. It took years of planning and hard work to bring this colossal vessel to life. Thousands of skilled workers in Ireland worked day and night to build this giant. The shipyards of Belfast were a hive of activity, with workers toiling tirelessly to meet the ambitious deadlines. It was so big, you could fit 3 football fields on its deck. The sheer scale of the Titanic was awe-inspiring, and it quickly became a symbol of human achievement. People thought it was so strong that it couldn't sink. The Titanic was touted as unsinkable, a claim that filled its passengers and crew with confidence. When the Titanic was finally ready to sail, people came from all over to see it. The ship's maiden voyage was a grand event, attracting spectators from far and wide. It was a big party. The atmosphere was electric, with celebrations and festivities marking the occasion. Newspapers said it was a super achievement for humans. Headlines praised the Titanic as a triumph of modern engineering and a testament to human progress. It was more than just a ship. It represented everything people thought they could achieve. The Titanic embodied the spirit of the age, a time when anything seemed possible. The Titanic had special features that were supposed to keep it safe, like walls that could stop water from spreading if there was a hole. These watertight compartments were designed to make the ship virtually unsinkable. Because of this, everyone thought the Titanic was unbeatable. Passengers boarded the ship with a sense of security, believing they were embarking on a journey aboard the safest vessel ever built. They thought it would rule the Atlantic Ocean. The Titanic was expected to set new standards in transatlantic travel, dominating the seas with its size and luxury. Little did they know something terrible was about to happen. The Titanic's maiden voyage would soon turn into a tragic tale that would be remembered for generations to come. People really believed the Titanic couldn't sink. The ship was a marvel of modern engineering, and the public's confidence in its invincibility was palpable. As passengers boarded, there was a sense of excitement and assurance in the air. The Titanic was not just another ship, it was a symbol of human ingenuity and progress. It was designed to be super strong, and people back then had a lot of faith in new technology. Engineers and shipbuilders worked tirelessly to create what they believed was the pinnacle of maritime design. The ship's blueprints were meticulously crafted, showcasing the latest advancements in shipbuilding technology. Every detail was considered, from the materials used to the innovative design features that set the Titanic apart from any other vessel of its time. The Titanic was the best ship anyone had ever seen. It was the largest and most luxurious ship of its era, boasting amenities that were unheard of at the time. Passengers marveled at its grandeur, feeling privileged to be part of its maiden voyage. The ship's reputation for safety and luxury attracted the rich and famous, who were eager to experience the opulence of the Titanic. The bottom of the ship was built with 2 layers, which was unusual back then. This double hull design was intended to provide extra protection against potential damage. The shipbuilders took great pride in this feature, believing it would make the Titanic virtually unsinkable. The construction process was a monumental task, involving thousands of workers and countless hours of labor. This made it extra tough against anything in the water. The reinforced hull was designed to withstand the harshest conditions at sea, giving passengers and crew a sense of security. The ship's builders were confident that the Titanic could handle any obstacle it might encounter, from rough seas to potential collisions. Plus, those special walls inside could be closed to trap water if there was a problem. These watertight compartments were a revolutionary feature, designed to contain flooding and prevent the ship from sinking. The compartments could be sealed off quickly in the event of an emergency, providing an additional layer of safety. This innovation was one of the key selling points of the Titanic, further reinforcing the belief in its unsinkability. Everyone thought that even if water got in, the Titanic would stay afloat. The ship's design was seen as foolproof, and passengers felt reassured by the advanced safety features. The confidence in the Titanic's ability to stay afloat was so strong that many believed it was the safest place to be, even in the middle of the ocean. People got on board, excited about their trip. The atmosphere at the docks was electric, with families and friends bidding farewell to their loved ones. The Titanic represented not just a journey across the ocean, but a voyage into the future. Passengers were eager to experience the luxury and comfort that the ship promised, and their excitement was palpable. For them, it wasn't just a trip across the ocean, it was like being part of something amazing. The Titanic offered an unparalleled level of luxury, with first-class amenities that rivaled the finest hotels. Passengers enjoyed lavish surroundings, from opulent dining rooms to elegant lounges. The ship was a floating palace, and being on board was an experience like no other. Rich and famous people had fancy dinners, walked down a grand staircase, and even went swimming in a pool on the ship. The Titanic's amenities were designed to cater to the elite, offering a level of comfort and sophistication that was unmatched. The grand staircase was a focal point of the ship, a symbol of its elegance and grandeur. Passengers dined on gourmet meals, enjoyed live music, and relaxed in luxurious surroundings. The ship even had a swimming pool, a rare feature at the time, adding to the sense of exclusivity and luxury. It was like a taste of the future. The Titanic represented the pinnacle of modern technology and design, offering passengers a glimpse into what the future might hold. The ship's advanced features and luxurious amenities set a new standard for maritime travel, and passengers were in awe of the experience. The Titanic was more than just a ship, it was a symbol of progress and innovation. But some people who knew a lot about ships were worried. Despite the widespread confidence in the Titanic, there were experts who had concerns. These shipbuilders and engineers understood the potential risks and were aware of the limitations of the ship's design. They voiced their worries, but their concerns were often overshadowed by the public's enthusiasm and the ship's reputation for safety. They thought the Titanic was going too fast, especially since there were icebergs in the water. The ship's speed was a point of contention, with some experts believing it was too fast for the conditions. Icebergs were a known hazard in the North Atlantic, and the risk of collision was a real concern. Despite these warnings, the Titanic continued at full speed, driven by the desire to set a new transatlantic crossing record. They also thought there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone on board if something bad happened. The Titanic's lifeboat capacity was another major concern. The ship was equipped with lifeboats for only a fraction of its passengers and crew, based on outdated regulations. This oversight was a critical flaw in the ship's design, one that would have devastating consequences in the event of an emergency. Sadly, nobody really listened to these worries. The confidence in the Titanic's invincibility was so strong that the concerns of experts were largely ignored. Passengers and crew alike were caught up in the excitement of the voyage, believing that nothing could go wrong. This overconfidence would prove to be a tragic mistake, as the events that unfolded would forever change the course of maritime history. On April 14, 1912, the unsinkable Titanic met its match, a giant iceberg. The ship, which was on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, was carrying over 2,200 passengers and crew. It was a night filled with excitement and anticipation, as many on board were looking forward to a new life in America. The Titanic was the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, a marvel of modern engineering and a symbol of human ingenuity. This block of ice hiding in the dark water ripped a hole in the ship's side. The collision caused a series of fatal breaches in the ship's hull, allowing water to flood in at an alarming rate. The iceberg, which had been drifting in the North Atlantic, was nearly invisible in the dark, moonless night. The lookouts had little chance to spot it in time to avoid the disaster. At first it didn't seem too bad, but it would turn out to be deadly for the Titanic and the people on board. The initial impact was not felt by everyone, and many passengers continued with their evening activities, unaware of the impending danger. However, as the water began to pour into the lower compartments, the true extent of the damage became apparent. The ship's designers had assured that the Titanic could stay afloat with up to 4 flooded compartments, but the iceberg had compromised 5. The happy atmosphere on the ship quickly turned into fear and confusion. Passengers who had been enjoying the luxurious amenities and entertainment were suddenly faced with the terrifying reality of a sinking ship. Panic spread as the crew began to realize the severity of the situation and started to inform the passengers. The once grand and opulent ship was now a scene of chaos and desperation. At first, the crew didn't understand how serious the damage was. They conducted inspections and tried to assess the situation, but the reality was far worse than they had anticipated. The ship's watertight compartments, which were supposed to prevent such a disaster, were quickly filling with water. The crew's initial attempts to manage the situation were futile, and it became clear that the Titanic was doomed. But when they did, they sent out calls for help. The Titanic's radio operators, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, worked tirelessly to send distress signals to nearby ships. They used the Marconi wireless system to broadcast the ship's position and the urgent need for assistance. Despite their efforts, the nearest ship, the Carpathia, was over 4 hours away. The crew also used signal flares to try and attract attention, but help was too far to arrive in time. Sadly, the great Titanic was now in danger. The ship, once a symbol of human achievement, was now a tragic testament to the limits of technology and the power of nature. As the water continued to flood the lower decks, the Titanic began to list and sink. The bow dipped lower into the icy waters of the Atlantic, and the stern rose higher into the air. The ship's fate was sealed, and it was only a matter of time before it would disappear beneath the waves. As water slowly filled the ship, it began to sink. The once majestic vessel was now a scene of horror and despair. Passengers and crew alike struggled to find safety, but the lifeboats were limited and the situation was dire. The Titanic's design, which had been praised for its luxury and innovation, was now proving to be its downfall. The ship's size and complexity made evacuation difficult, and the cold, dark waters of the Atlantic offered little hope for survival. Because of mistakes and delays, there weren't enough lifeboats, and people didn't know what to do. The Titanic was equipped with only 20 lifeboats, enough for about half of the people on board. The crew's lack of training and the passengers' disbelief in the severity of the situation led to a chaotic and disorganized evacuation. Many lifeboats were launched half empty, and precious time was wasted as people hesitated to leave the seemingly unsinkable ship. The band on board kept playing music even though everyone knew what was happening. In an effort to maintain calm and provide some comfort, the ship's band, led by Wallace Hartley, continued to play as the Titanic sank. Their music, a mix of lively tunes and hymns, provided a haunting backdrop to the unfolding tragedy. The band's bravery and dedication became one of the most poignant and memorable aspects of the disaster. Some brave people let women and children go first on the lifeboats. The principle of women and children first was upheld by many of the crew and passengers, leading to acts of heroism and self-sacrifice. Men like Benjamin Guggenheim and Isidor Straus chose to stay behind, ensuring that others had a chance to survive. The lifeboats, though few in number, became a lifeline for those fortunate enough to secure a spot. The crew, knowing they might not survive, kept trying to call for help and keep things calm. Despite the overwhelming odds, the Titanic's crew continued to perform their duties with courage and determination. They worked to maintain order, assist passengers, and send out distress signals until the very end. Their efforts, though ultimately in vain, demonstrated the best of human spirit in the face of unimaginable disaster. As the front of the Titanic sank deeper, the back rose up out of the water, showing everyone just how bad things were. The ship's final moments were marked by a dramatic and terrifying scene. The immense pressure caused the Titanic to break apart, with the bow plunging into the depths and the stern rising high into the air before following it down. The sight of the ship's massive structure breaking and sinking was a stark reminder of the disaster's scale and the fragility of human endeavors. Finally, the ship went underwater, taking with it the lives of over 1,500 people. The Titanic's sinking was one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history, leaving a lasting impact on the world. The loss of life, The stories of heroism and tragedy and the lessons learned from the disaster continue to resonate to this day. The Titanic's legacy is a somber reminder of the limits of human ambition and the enduring power of nature. The world was shocked when the Titanic sank. How could this happen to a ship that was supposed to be unsinkable? People came up with many theories to explain the disaster. Some thought the ship was going too fast in dangerous waters. Others blamed the lack of enough lifeboats. One theory is that the metal used to build the Titanic was weak and broke easily when it hit the iceberg. This means even a small hit could have caused a big problem. Another theory is that a fire in the ship's fuel storage area might have weakened the ship's walls, making it easier for the iceberg to cause damage. Some people also think the design of the ship was flawed. Those special walls inside, while strong, may not have been tall enough to stop water from flowing over them. This could explain why the ship flooded so quickly.